Welcome back to the Padilla Family Homestead. Today we are talking about the spring garden. I know it is the end of December. We have just a few days until Christmas. The day I'm filming this, we are 8 days until Christmas. But now is the time to start planning the spring garden here in zone 9B. Most of the time, if I'm growing tomatoes or peppers or anything like that, I would be starting those that last week in December to the first to second week in January. I am doing things a little bit differently again this year, so I'm going to jump into that garden plan and kind of share with you some of the resources that I use to plan my garden. So first off, there are a ton of free seed catalogs that are out there, so you can look at and get information. I get, this is not this year's, I'm not buying seeds this year, so I didn't go through and get a ton of them, but I did order a big one. So Seed Savers Exchange is one I've gotten before. Johnny's Select Seeds is another one I've gotten before. Territorial Seed Company. And then the free Baker Creek catalog. This is a great one. Look at that tomato. I'm like drooling over this tomato. It's on my wish list. So Baker Creek has this free one. See, it's pretty decent size. But then there's one that you pay for, and every year I get this, and it's that thick. And this is the 2024 whole seed catalog. And what I like about this, even though I'm not buying seeds for this spring, I like to get this because this has so much information in it. It gives you tons of information on all the seeds that you want to grow. They're fun heirloom varieties. Some of them they'll go through, I'm trying to find one. Some of them have like recipes. They'll go in and do like the history of a plant, tell you where it's grown, show you the photography is just amazing. I was trying to find one that had a story behind it, but yeah, they're just amazing. All the different things throughout here, the different ways to use them, and all kinds of information about it. So this is a great resource. This is a fun thing to do in the winter when it's cold, you're having chill time, and you want to sit in front of the fire. Seed catalogs are amazing for dreaming and learning and getting all kinds of information. So I highly suggest getting this one. The other resource that is newer to me, I started using it for the fall/winter garden this year, and now I'm using it for the spring garden, and it is called Seed Time. I will put a link to it below. There is a free version and then there is a paid version. Right now I'm just using the free version, and you can plug in the crops. It doesn't have like all the flowers and things like that under the free version. If you have the paid version, you can type in your own information. But you can type in and put in your zone, your zip code, all that stuff, and it pops up your first estimated last frost, your first frost, your last frost, and when you should start things inside, when you should transplant them outside. Like, there's so much information in there. So if you're new to gardening and you're really trying to figure out when you should start seeds, this is a great resource. So I'm going to pop that in the description below for you. I'm actually, because of the stuff that I'm going to be growing this year, which I'm going to go through and tell you what I am planning on growing this year. But because of what I am planning on growing, I am not starting my plants as early. I am probably still going to start indoor tomato plants at the beginning of January, but I'm not going to grow very many of those. I grew Orange Hat, which is a micro tomato, outside last year, and I did not like it as much outside. I have preferred the tomatoes much better when they were grown inside, and I feel like they grew more for me inside. So I am going to stick with growing them inside. They have done great in the past. So I'll grow a couple of those and keep them indoors. And then I am not doing peppers this year. There's an opportunity again that we may be moving in the summer, so we will see. So I am planning on having my garden be fluid, whether we stay or whether we move. I want to have it be something that is I can work with, and I'm not going to be devastated leaving mature plants behind. Plus, I didn't get a ton of peppers this last time. I got more when I went to the farms, and I have a great U-Pick farm near us that I can get a bunch of produce at a great price. So I would rather just go ahead and support those farmers and then grow some things that I'm really been enjoying using or that I've been missing out on because I've been giving space to other things. So first, I'm starting everything from seed. I am not going to buy plants from the plant store. And I'm going to beg my husband to tell me no if I want plants from the garden center because I think I'm getting more pests from the garden center. The last couple of years, as soon as I bring stuff in from the garden center, I immediately start having the moths, the caterpillars, and I immediately start having aphids. And so I'm going to try to do everything from seed, and whatever doesn't take from seed, then I will fill those holes with radishes or some quick growing vegetable that I can pop in that spot and just make do, whether it's a quick herb or a vegetable. So I have 3 GreenStalk towers. If you are new here, I have the leaf tower, which is 7 with the shorter pockets. So it's 7 tiers and it's 6 pockets per tier. And then I have 2 of the original 5-tier GreenStalks. So that's 10 of the larger tiers with 6 pockets each. So I can grow 114 different plants, different pockets. And I like to try to keep the same things in the same row. You don't have to. I seem to have more success when I'm keeping things kind of balanced out better, and watching what's being watered, like things like a stack. So I try to do potatoes or sweet potatoes and some other things. Other things needed more water. Some things needed less water. So having the whole tower kind of need similar watering, similar needs, I think is important, and similar fertilizers is important. So I'm doing things a little bit different this time. So in my leaf tower, which is the one that's closer to my front door, I can move it around a little bit more. That's where I'm going to put my beans this year. So the top 3 tiers, I'm going to do bush beans. And I'm hoping that will cause less plant breakage, because they were breaking, because where I could put my GreenStalks, I want to say there's about a foot in between, which when plants get bigger, they'll spread and they end up hitting each other and they break. So I think that's going to help with that. So I'm going to do 3 tiers of the bush beans. I really, really, really like just going out and snacking on fresh green beans. I really, really like that. Then the second 2 tier, the next set of tiers, for 2 of them, I'm going to do lettuce for as long as I can. And then I will address it at that point and see if I need to put something else in. I may do lettuce more on the back half, and that might last a little bit longer than doing it on the front, the half that's pointed out. So we'll see and play with that. But the bronze leaf lettuce did pretty good, and so I'm going to try to grow that again. And then the bottom 2 tiers will be radishes on that one. So beans, lettuce, and radish. The next one, I'm going to be focusing on some agastache, or however you say it. I started seeds for that this last year and they did not take off. So I don't know what I did. I don't know if it's just because it's older seed or what exactly. So I am going to start those earlier. That's one of the plants I'm going to start earlier. And I'm going to sow extra. And then if I have extra, I'll give them away. But I'd rather sow more than less. I really want to grow this for tea. I really like the way it smells and how pretty it is. There's different scents. I really like the Navajo Sunset one. It's really like citrus and mint. It's like a very unique smell. And then there are some other ones that I wanted to try. So I'm going to have the top tier of one of my GreenStalks be that. And then 6 pockets of the holy basil. Holy basil is great for helping. It's an adaptogen. I really like the smell of it, and I'm hoping to get enough to make some of the teas with it and so forth, some of the summer teas. And so we'll see how I do with that. And then the next row is going to be Thai basil. So each row is going to have 6 pockets of these planted. And the Thai basil is great because my husband likes faux. This last year, the Thai basil being tucked in to some of these other plants, it got really overshadowed by the peppers, I think is one of the things that overshadowed it, and the beans. And so it didn't do as well. I got some stuff, but not a lot. So I'm hoping that this year that we'll get a really good crop from that. And then below that, we're going to do a row of kale and then Swiss chard. The next container, I have not had a good basil year in 2 years. I don't know what the deal is. It is one of my favorite herbs, and I really like it fresh with tomatoes and cucumbers and mozzarella. I like adding it into my salad. I like putting it into tortillas. I like adding it to my pasta sauces. I love basil, and I have not had a good year. So I am going to try to grow lettuce leaf basil and one of the classic Italian flavored basils. I don't know if it's going to be Genovese exactly, or if I'm going to try the is it Mamola, or I'm gonna have to look at the variety. I have Emily and I have the another one that are like the basic Italian. The Emily didn't do great last year, so I want to try a different one. And so I'm going to do 2 tiers of basil, and then I'll have a tier of collards for my daughter, and mustard, greens, and then the bottom tier on that one is going to be chives. We really enjoy chives, fresh chives, chives on potatoes, really like that. Topping it our eggs or things like that with it. I really like having chives available. I like them better fresh than I like them dried. So if I can have quite a bit growing, that would be amazing. So that is going to be my focus, or things that I can harvest little bits here and there and harvest them frequently. Really focusing on some of these fresh herbs, some of the teas that I want to do, and then beans. And having the lettuce, the radishes, some of these herbs, I can make a great salad, super easy. And then also have the greens to add into soups or anything else that I'm doing. So that's kind of my plan right now for them. So I have found that if I'm going to bulk buy something, if it's better for me to bulk buy it, I need to do that with how little space I have. Having enough tomatoes to do anything out there is pretty slim. Peppers needing kind of, I can grow them out there, but it takes a really long time for them to come up. And I need to twirl those containers, and I don't feel like they're getting enough sun because I'm in an apartment. And so I only have very limited space on where I can put these. And I feel like they're not getting what they need. They can perform, but they're not going to perform to their best of their ability. And so I would rather purchase things that somebody else can perform great, and then grow things that I feel like I can do. And so having all of the leafy greens, the basil, the collards, the mustard, and the chives, I need all of the same fertilizer throughout there. I can focus on my nitrogen in that, and really at this similar watering, and just let those grow. Same thing with the Agastaceae or Agastaceae, however you say it. That one may need a little bit more of the, is it potash or phosphorus? One of the two, the P and the NPK, because of the blooms and the flowers. So that may need a little bit more of that. But holy basil, Thai basil, those both produce flowers as well. And then the kale and Swiss chard. And then beans, lettuce, and radish, they'll be great together. So that's kind of my plan right now. And so I'm plugging all of these things in to Seed Time, and it's telling me what the best guesstimate time to plant is. And then of course I watch my forecast and see, because any of these first and last frosts are guesstimations based off of what's happened previously. I know there were just a bunch of zone changes. My zone did not change. I'm still a zone 9B. And so I don't know, like every year's weather is a little bit different. Last year was pretty cold. Our frost we had an earlier frost now and a later, earlier first frost and a later last frost. As an estimate now. And so I'm just kind of watching that. So usually my first frost is in the middle of December now, and my last frost is in the middle of March. We've gotten very close to having a frost at the 32 degrees. But I don't think my area, my little microclimate, actually got it, because I would have lost some of my stuff that I have growing. But I haven't lost it, so my little microclimate has not hit that yet. But it has gotten very, very close. So that's kind of where we are. I would definitely suggest checking out that Seed Time. My channel has really gone more towards the cooking, doing my cooking recipes once a week. That's kind of like what everybody has been wanting and has been really like watching. January, I'm going to continue with my Tea Time with Jen, and that will end out in January, and we'll pick up on some other fun stuff that's happening. So I'll be doing once a month garden tours. And then I'll plug in a little bit of gardening here and there and other things. If you want to see more, let me know. If you want to see about small space growing and how I do that. But overall, that's kind of my plan at this point. And I'll bring you along when I'm starting my seeds and doing all of that, because I love that I get to start earlier. Because of being in a zone 9B and getting things going. So once Christmas is done and all the decorations come down and it's cold January, I am ready for green and growing. So I'm excited to start having plants in the house. I'm excited to get cuddled up with my seed catalog. You can still get this thing online. I'll link where. This is rareseeds.com, and I've had really good success with their seeds. The other company that I like purchasing seeds through is M.I. Gardener. I don't think he has a catalog. I'm not positive though. So I would definitely check him out too for seeds. And Botanical Interest. I don't think that was one of the seeds catalogs I had. Botanical Interest is another one that's really, really good. So I'm going to link all that below. I would love to know what zone you're in, kind of what you're planning on growing. If you're in a small space, what are you choosing to focus on? And I think that varies depending on the family and what their needs are and what you eat. and what you constantly are trying to buy from the store. What things can you pick up for your family and replace and make it doable? Thank you for watching. I appreciate you following along on our journey. And I am super excited for the growing season that's about to start. I'm growing outside right now, though. If you are curious about growing in the winter, I have garden tours. I am still growing tons of stuff in all of my planters. They are full. So you can grow all year long. So definitely check out my 2023 gardening playlist, and we will see you on the next one. Merry Christmas.